It is January 2026. We have officially crossed the quarter mark of the 21st century. Take a moment to let that sink in. The landscape of our world is changing faster than ever. We're seeing smart optics that connect to satellites, rifles printed from carbon fiber composites, and regulations that seem to shift with the wind. But out there in the timber, in the high sagebrush, and in the freezing cold of a deer stand in November, one fundamental truth remains the same. You, the rifle, the shot. If you're watching this, you understand that a firearm is more than just a tool. It's an inheritance. It's a provider. It's peace of mind in a world that often feels unpredictable. But here's the question that's been filling our inbox. From new gun owners in the suburbs to seasoned ranchers. In this specific year, with ammunition prices where they are and supply chains finally stabilizing yet still evolving, what is the one cartridge that stands above the rest? What is the single hunting caliber that every American should consider having in their safe right now? Today, we're not just reading a spec sheet, we're taking a journey through history, ballistics, and the soul of American marksmanship. We're counting down the top 7 hunting calibers for 2026, leading to the undisputed #1 champion that offers the perfect balance of power, heritage, and practical utility. Before we chamber that first round, do me a favor. If you value deep dive analysis that respects your intelligence and your time, go ahead and click that subscribe button. We're building a community of serious shooters here at Gunforge, and we want you with us. Are you ready? Let's get to work. Number 7, the .45-70 Government, the Sledgehammer. Coming in at number 7, we're starting with a giant, a cartridge born in black powder and smoke that has somehow reinvented itself as one of the most relevant rounds of the modern era. I'm talking about the legendary .45-70 Government. You might be asking, why is a cartridge from 1873 on a list for 2026? To understand that, you have to look at where it began. This round was the hammer of the late 19th century. It was adopted by the US Army just a few years after the Civil War. It played a major role in frontier expansion and earned a reputation for stopping power that borders on mythological. In the early days, a 405 grain lead slug moving at a slow, heavy pace would push through nearly anything in its path. It wasn't fast, it wasn't flat shooting, but it was decisive. Now here's the 2026 analysis. The .45-70 is experiencing a major renaissance. And not just because of nostalgia, it's where legislation and technology intersect. Over the past 5 years, several states, including Iowa, Ohio, and Michigan, have expanded deer hunting regulations to allow straight wall cartridges. For decades, many Midwest hunters were limited to shotguns. Now they can use rifles chambered in straight wall cartridges. And when they look for a straight wall round capable of taking down whitetail deer or even black bear in with authority, the old government cartridge rises to the top. It was waiting for them. Technically speaking, the modern .45-70 is a beast. We are no longer limited to the low-pressure trapdoor loads of the 1800s. If you're running a modern lever gun like the Marlin 1895 or the Henry Big Boy X, you can safely use Tier 2 and Tier 3 loads. These are hotter, higher pressure rounds from companies like Buffalo Bore and Garrett that push a 300 grain bullet at over 2,000 feet per second. That translates into serious energy. Inside 150 yards, there is very little in North America that can shrug off a hit from a modern .45-70. It is the ultimate brush gun. It tends to power through twigs and light cover that might deflect lighter, faster bullets, and it creates a substantial wound channel. That said, we have to be realistic about the downsides. The trajectory arcs dramatically. If you're hunting open country and might need to take a 300-yard shot, this is absolutely the wrong tool. You must know your range and be confident in your distance estimation. Then there's the recoil. In a lightweight lever action rifle, a full power .45-70 load will definitely make its presence known. It's not a sharp snap like some magnums. It's a heavy, deep push that can bruise your shoulder if you're not prepared. The reason it lands at number 7 is simple. It's an ultimate stopper. For a camper in bear country or a hunter in thick timber, it offers a level of confidence that smaller rounds simply cannot match. much. And let's be honest, there's something deeply satisfying about cycling a lever action. It feels uniquely American. It connects you to history in a way a modern polymer bolt action never quite will. As for cost, you're paying for that large brass case. In January 2026, premium .45-70 hunting ammunition has an MSRP around $65 per box. Realistically, you're fortunate to find quality loads for under $3.50 per round. It's not cheap, but it's rarely a cartridge you need to fire twice. Number 6, the 7mm PRC, laser precision. Moving up to number 6, we leave the history books and step into the cutting edge of modern ballistics, the 7mm PRC. If the .45-70 is a sledgehammer, the 7mm PRC is a laser-guided scalpel. Introduced by Hornady just a few years ago, this cartridge was engineered from the ground up to address the shortcomings of older Magnums. For decades, the 7mm Remington Magnum dominated the 7mm category, but it was designed around older, lighter bullet profiles. It also used a belted case design that many reloaders found less than ideal, and chamber dimensions were often cut generously. The 7mm PRC corrects those issues. It uses a modern, beltless case design that allows long, heavy aerodynamic bullets to be seated farther out without sacrificing powder capacity. We're talking about 175 to 180 grain bullets with extremely high ballistic coefficients. What does that mean in practical terms? It means exceptional resistance to wind drift and outstanding long-range performance. Culturally, this round represents the new generation of precision hunters. The shooter carrying a Kestrel wind meter, running ballistic calculators on their phone, and viewing a 400-yard shot as routine rather than extreme. Because it was designed around modern manufacturing tolerances, the 7mm PRC delivers impressive consistency. Many factory rifles chambered in 7mm PRC today shoot more accurately out of the box than custom rifles did 20 years ago. The reason it earns the number 6 spot is its dominance in western big game hunting. If you're pursuing elk across a canyon in Colorado or sheep in the mountains of Alaska, this is arguably one of the most capable ballistic tools available right now. It delivers energy comparable to the .300 Winchester Magnum, but with noticeably less recoil and improved wind resistance. It's the efficiency king among heavy-hitting cartridges. However, it doesn't rank higher for a few reasons. First, it's arguably more power than the average whitetail hunter in the eastern United States truly needs. Taking a deer at 75 yards in a cornfield does not require this level of performance. Second is availability. While adoption has grown quickly, you still won't find 7mm PRC ammunition in every small-town hardware store across rural America. Forget your ammo on a trip to a small town, and you might be out of luck. And finally, barrel life. It is a hot rod. It burns a lot of powder and it will erode the throat of your barrel faster than the standard calibers. As for the cost, be prepared to pay the early adopter tax. The MSRP for match grade hunting loads is sitting around $80 a box. In the real world, you're looking at nearly $4 per trigger pull. It is a rich man's game and a reloader's paradise, but the performance is undeniable. Number 5, the 6.5 Creedmoor, the easy button. At number 5, we have the cartridge that launched 1,000 internet arguments, the round that changed the industry forever, the 6.5 Creedmoor. Now, and I know some of the old guard just rolled their eyes. It's a fad. It's just a weak .243. Let me stop you right there. By 2026, the debate is settled. The 6.5 Creedmoor is not a fad. It is the new global standard for short action efficiency. Historically, this round is fascinating because it didn't start as a hunting cartridge. It started on the target range. It was designed to punch paper at 1,000 yards with minimal recoil. But what happened was this. Hunters realized those same traits, accuracy and low recoil. It made it the perfect deer rifle. It allowed shooters to place their shots with surgical precision. And as we all know, a smaller bullet in the heart is infinitely better than a big bullet in the gut. From an analytical standpoint, the 6.5 Creedmoor is the easy button of the firearms world. Honest, the recoil is so light that almost anyone, from a 12-year-old on their first hunt to a 70-year-old with a bad shoulder, can shoot it all day without flinching. That lack of flinch translates directly to filled tags. Ballistically, it punches way above its weight class because of those long, sleek bullets we talked about earlier. It stays supersonic well past 1,200 yards, which is farther than any of us have business shooting at an animal. The cultural role of the Creedmoor has been to democratize long-range accuracy. It made the 1,000-yard mark accessible to the average guy with a $500 Ruger American. It brought millions of new people into the sport because it wasn't painful to shoot. So why is it at number 5 and not number 1? Because of the elk factor. While the 6.5 Creedmoor has taken plenty of elk, moose, and bear, it sits on the lower end of the energy spectrum for truly large animals. In 2026, we're seeing slight pushback as hunters realize that if things go wrong, if you hit a shoulder bone on a big bull elk, the 6.5 might not have the raw mass to punch through and do the job. It is a phenomenal deer, antelope, and sheep cartridge, but it lacks the heavy-hitting versatility of the larger calibers on this list. Pros: incredible accuracy, massive selection of factory ammo, and very low recoil. Cons: not a heavy hitter for dangerous or very large game, and it has become so popular that it's almost boring to some enthusiasts. Price check: because it's so popular, prices have stabilized nicely. You can find practice ammo for under $1 per round, and premium hunting loads like Hornady ELDX are hovering around $35 to $40 for a box of 20. It is affordable, available, and effective. Number 4, the .270 Winchester, the Aristocrat. Coming in at number 4, we have the Aristocrat of American hunting cartridges, the favorite of the legendary writer Jack O'Connor, the swift, the flat, the .270 Winchester. This cartridge turns 101 years old this year. It was released in 1925 based on the .30-06 case neck down to shoot a narrower bullet. For a century, this has been the definition of a Western rifle. Before laser rangefinders existed, hunters loved the .270 because it shot so flat. You could sight it in 3 inches high at 100 yards and hold dead on a deer's chest out to 300. That was a superpower in the days of iron sights and simple scopes. But does it still hold up in 2026? Absolutely. The analysis shows that the .270 Winchester sits in a Goldilocks zone. It hits harder than the 6.5 Creedmoor, delivering more energy on target, but it doesn't punish your shoulder like the big Magnums. It is fast, screaming fast. A 130 grain bullet leaves the barrel at over 3,000 feet per second. That speed creates a massive hydrostatic shock effect when it hits game. Hunters often report that deer hit with a .270 seem to be struck by lightning. They just drop. Culturally, owning a .270 makes a statement. It says you appreciate tradition, but you also value performance. It is a gentleman's caliber. It's not tactical. You rarely see a .270 in a black chassis with a 30-round magazine. You see it in a bolt-action rifle slung over the shoulder of someone who knows how to stalk. The core reason it takes the number 4 spot is its specific excellence on deer-sized game. If your primary goal is hunting whitetail, on mule deer, or pronghorn, there is arguably no better cartridge on the landscape. It kills instantly. It shoots flat, and it is available everywhere. However, the cons are becoming more apparent in the modern age. The .270 was designed with a slow barrel twist rate, which means it cannot properly stabilize the new super heavy high-tech bullets that the 6.5 and 7mm crowd are using. Aerodynamically, it is less efficient at extreme ranges. It is a hunter's round, not a target shooter's round. When it comes to pricing, the .270 is a bargain hunter's dream. Because it has been around forever, the supply is massive. You can walk into almost any hardware store in America and buy a box of core locks for around $30. Premium ammo runs about $50. It is accessible, reliable, and it carries the ghost of some of the greatest hunters who ever walked these woods. Viewer question: old school versus new school. We're halfway through our countdown of the essential hunting calibers for 2026. We've covered the brush-busting .45-70, the high-tech 7mm PRC, the surgical 6.5 Creedmoor, and the classic .270. We have 3 heavyweights left, including the one cartridge I believe stands alone. If you're watching this on your TV right now, grab your phone for a second, check the comments section, or scan the QR code on the screen. Tell me, which of these 4 would you trust on a once-in-a-lifetime hunt? Are you team old school with the .45-70 or team new school with the PRC? Let me know. I read every single comment. Now let's get into the top 3, the podium finishers. On to number 3, the .300 Winchester Magnum, the heavy hammer. At number 3, we bring out the big guns, the heavy hammer, the .300 Winchester Magnum. If you ask a professional hunting guide in Alaska or Montana what rifle they want their client to show up with, 9 times out of 10 they'll say the .300 Winchester Magnum. Introduced in 1963, this cartridge took the world by storm because it fit into a standard length action, the same size as a .30-06, but delivered Magnum performance. The analysis here is all about energy. The .300 Win Mag pushes heavy .30 caliber bullets at blistering speeds. It can deliver over 3,000 foot-pounds of energy. To put that in perspective, that's enough power to ethically take a moose at 400 yards. It is a round that offers a margin of error if your shot placement is a couple of inches off on a big, tough animal. The sheer trauma caused by the .300 Winchester Magnum can still anchor it. It breaks bone. It penetrates deep. It is the ultimate North American big game cartridge. Reliability is absolute. Every major ammunition manufacturer makes it. Every gun maker chambers it. It has been used by military snipers for decades, which means the development of accurate match-grade ammunition has spilled over into the hunting world. In 2026, with modern bonded bullets and monolithic copper options, the .300 Winchester Magnum is more lethal than it has ever been. So why isn't it number 1? 2 words: recoil and cost. The .300 Winchester Magnum is not fun to shoot. In a light hunting rifle, it kicks like a mule. It can develop a flinch even in experienced shooters if they don't practice regularly. It is loud, it is violent, and it is expensive to feed. You are burning a lot of powder with every trigger pull, but the reason it sits in the top 3 is undeniable: top-end versatility. If you want one rifle that can hunt whitetail, admittedly a bit of overkill, but can also handle a grizzly bear or a bull moose without hesitation, this is the one. It is the do-it-all cartridge for the hunter who dreams big. Price-wise, you pay for the power. Cheap ammo is rare. You're looking at $50 to $80 for a box of quality hunting rounds. But when you're staring down a 1,000-pound animal, you're not thinking about the $3 in the chamber. You're thinking about performance. And the .300 Win Mag delivers. Number 2, the .308 Winchester, the pragmatic choice. Number 2, the runner-up, the pragmatic choice, the .308 Winchester. If you were to design a cartridge by committee to be good enough at absolutely everything, this is what you would build. Born from the military's T-65 program and adopted as the 7.62 by 51 NATO, the .308 is the definition of efficiency. It fits in a short action, delivers excellent accuracy, and provides more than enough power for the vast majority of North American game, which means the rifle can be lighter and stiffer. It uses less powder than the older warhorses, which makes it more efficient. Here's the deep analysis for the 2026 landscape. The .308 is the king of logistics. In a world where supply chains have been rocky, the .308 is the cockroach of calibers. It survives everything. You can find it in every corner of the globe. Or you can buy military surplus ammo for cheap practice and then switch to ultra premium hunting loads for the field. Ballistically, it is not the fastest, it is not the flattest, but inside 300 yards, where 99% of all hunting actually happens, it hits with incredible authority. It uses the same .30 caliber bullets as the big Magnums, just moving a little slower. That means it penetrates well and expands reliably without destroying excessive amounts of meat. It is arguably one of the most inherently accurate cartridges ever mass-produced. There is a reason law enforcement and military snipers relied on it for over 50 years. The cultural role of the .308 is the prepper's choice. It is the round for the person who wants one rifle for hunting, defense, and target shooting. It works in bolt actions, lever actions, pump actions, and semi-automatics like the AR-10. So why is it number 2? Because it lacks the romance and top-end power of our number 1 pick. It is almost too practical. It doesn't have the reach of the .300 Winchester Magnum or the legacy of the .306, but for pure utility, it is nearly unbeatable. Pros: massive availability, huge variety of rifle platforms, manageable recoil, and incredible barrel life. You can shoot 10,000 rounds through a .308 before accuracy noticeably degrades. Cons: compared to the newer high-tech cartridges, it drops more dramatically past 400 yards. Price is one of its biggest advantages. You can still find bulk .308 for under $1.20 per round in 2026, with quality hunting ammo ranging from $30 to $60 per box. It is the working man's hero. Number 1, the .30-06 Springfield, the undisputed king. And here we are, the summit. Wedge is the undisputed champion, the #1 hunting caliber every American should own in January 2026, the .30-06 Springfield. There is a saying in this industry: there aren't many problems a person can't fix with $700 and a .30-06. Let's look at the history. Adopted in 1906, this cartridge fought in 2 world wars. It stopped charges in the trenches of Europe and in the jungles of the Pacific. It was the caliber carried by Hemingway. It helped build the American hunting tradition. For 120 years, it has been the standard by which all other cartridges are measured. But this is not just a history lesson. This is about 2026 capability. Why is the .30-06 still #1? Because it is the most versatile cartridge on the planet, period. The analysis is simple. The .30-06 can handle a wider range of bullet weights than almost anything else. You can load it with light 110 grain bullets for varmints and coyotes. You can load it with standard 165 grain bullets for deer, where it strikes a perfect balance of velocity and energy. Or, and this is where it beats the .308, you can load it with massive 220 grain solids for grizzly bears and moose. The .3006 case has just enough extra powder capacity over the .308 to push those heavy bullets more effectively. In the modern era, with new superformance powders from companies like Hodgdon and Winchester, the .30-06 is nipping at the heels of the .300 Win Mag. You are getting near Magnum performance in a standard rifle that holds more rounds in the magazine and produces less recoil. Culturally, owning a .30-06 connects you to the lineage of this country. It is everyman power. It doesn't require a muzzle brake. It doesn't require a battery-powered optic, it just works. It has taken more game in North America than any other cartridge, and it's not even close. The core reason it deserves the #1 spot in your safe is availability and scalability. If the world goes sideways, or if you're standing in a small town hardware store in the middle of nowhere, there will likely be a box of .30-06 on the shelf. It is the universal language of American firearms. Pros: unmatched versatility, capable of taking any animal in North America, widely available, and supported by thousands of rifle options. Cons: recoil is stout, more than a .308 or 6.5 Creedmoor. And the long-action design makes the rifle slightly heavier and a bit slower to cycle. But the price helps balance that out. Because it is so ubiquitous, competition keeps costs reasonable. Yes, you're generally looking at roughly $1.50 to $2.50 per round, depending on quality and brand, for premium hunting rounds. In a world of high-tech specialists, the .30-06 is the ultimate generalist. It is the master of the woods. It is the one rifle you would grab if you could only grab one. And that is why, in 2026, it is still the king. Outro and final thoughts. So there you have it, from the historic thump of the .45-70 to the laser precision of the 7mm PRC, and finally the enduring legacy of the .30-06. I know many of you have strong feelings about this list. Maybe you think the .270 should have ranked higher. Maybe you're upset I left off the .243 or the 7mm 08, and that's exactly what I want to hear. The firearms community is built on these debates. It's what keeps us sharp. So head down to the comments and tell me, what is your #1? What is the rifle you would never sell, no matter what price someone offered? Drop a comment, hit that like button if you learned something today, and share this video with a buddy who's looking to buy their next deer rifle. We've got some incredible content coming next week, including a torture test of the new 2026 Smart Scopes, so make sure you have that notification bell turned on. Until then, remember, your gear is only as good as your training. Get to the range, practice your fundamentals, respect the wild, stay safe, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Gunforge, signing off.